Okay, then we come to the reproductive system. Last time we just did the urinary system, and reproductive I told you we'll do with the lymphatic. The reproductive system, the rest of the pelvis you have already done when we were doing the urinary system, okay? Now just to identify the structures, you see this blue color structure is the pubic bone, which is making a joint with the other pubic bone. First of all, just to revise a little of the pelvis, in the pelvis you see right side and left side two hip bones and a sacrum behind. This area which is bounded by the two hip bones and sacrum is called as pelvis. The pelvis, the two hip bones anteriorly, they join in the center to form symphysis pubis. If you remember from the first term, this symphysis pubis is the secondary cartilaginous joint that we have done. If you remember, these two parts are called as pubic bones. They join in the center as pubis. Then behind is sacrum. So what we see here, this is a sagittal section of the same pelvis cut from the center. Okay. Here you can see the symphysis pubis and you see the sacrum behind. So the area between the symphysis pubis and sacrum is the pelvis. Okay, it should be completed from the other side, but this is just a half we are doing. Now the first structure, when you go from the front to the back, after the pubic bone you will see urinary bladder. And the first structure from the back after the sacrum that you see is rectum. So between the urinary bladder and the rectum, what you identify, this structure is called as uterus. Again, theoretically, I have done with you the two parts of the uterus. The upper part called carpus. It is also divided into body and fundus. The carpus is further divided into body and fundus of the uterus. And the lower part of the uterus is called as cervix. Cervix means neck of the uterus. So you have uterus that has two parts, cervix or neck and carpus or body. Okay. So question, if I ask you to identify this is uterus. Okay. Name any part of the uterus. Either you say carpus or cervix, or you say body or cervix or neck or whatever you like to name it. Okay. Then there is the cavity of the uterus and the wall of the uterus. The cervix of the uterus will open into the vagina. The cervix of the uterus will open into vagina below, and vagina opens to the exterior. In front you can see urethra, that is from a duct from the urinary bladder going out, and behind from the rectum you see the anal canal. Okay, anal canal, vagina and urethra. These are the structures at the lower level, and the structure at the upper level from front to back, urinary bladder, uterus and rectum. Other than this, what you see from the uterus, there is a duct going back. This duct, or to the lateral side, this is called as uterine tube or fallopian tube. Uterine tube and fallopian tube ending into this orange structure called as ovary. Now I'll just take it out to make it understand. Bladder, uterus, the uterine tube or the fallopian tube, and this structure is called as ovary. Okay, this is called as ovary. So what you identify laterally on both the sides, this uterus has been sectioned from the center. If it is complete, then there are two fallopian tubes, two ovaries. In the center there is uterus. Okay, anterior to the uterus is bladder, and behind the uterus is rectum. Okay, so this is all regarding the female pelvis needed for identification. We will see on another model, because I can ask either Identify the structure. The yellow color here, ovary. Identify the structure. The red color is the infundibulum of the or the fimbriated end of the uterine tube, fallopian tube. Identify this structure. This hole is the fallopian tube or the uterine tube. Identify this structure. This is uterus. This is a complete organ showing in the pelvis. Same symphysis pubis, same sacrum, bladder. Behind bladder is uterus and then rectum. Below you see the anal canal, vagina and the urethra. If I remove this, the similar structure you see, urinary bladder with urethra, uterus, cavity of the uterus, the upper part body, the lower part cervix, opening into vagina, and behind you see the rectum with anal canal. Okay, the most posterior structure in the pelvis here is sacrum. Laterally, if you move, there is fallopian tube, which ends by a dilated finger-like projection called fimbria, and catch the ovary, the yellow color structure that you see here. Any question here?
How many parts we have now?
In this model, you identify sacrum, rectum, anal canal, uterus with its different parts, cervix, body, and urinary bladder with urethra, symphysis pubis, the fallopian tube, the ovary.
More than 10.
Not 10 exactly. Actually, if you are talking about the reproductive system, then it's only 2 or 3 structures. But to identify those 2-3 structure, you have to know the other structures to differentiate.
Maybe both parts.
We are doing here in this one. We need only the reproductive system. Yes, but the same model will be used to identify the bladder or urinary system. Okay, or the same model will be used to identify rectum for digestive system.
Yeah.
So if you know all of these, you cover all.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the male pelvis. The male pelvis, here again the first thing that you identify is symphysis pubis, the pubic bone, and behind is the sacrum. Between the two, the pelvis contains not 3 structures like we had in the female pelvis. Behind the symphysis pubis is bladder, and behind bladder we have rectum. In the upper part you have bladder, and behind the bladder is rectum. In the lower part now you have other structures. This is male pelvis, so you will identify that below the bladder there is prostate gland. Prostate, the white color, prostate gland. And the rectum goes same to the anal canal. From the bladder below you see the urethra is going out. This urethra is traveling in the prostate gland. There is another duct in the prostate that we call as ejaculatory duct. This ejaculatory duct is the one which is joined by which is formed by the joining of the vas deferens with seminal vesicle. I will go into the details later. First you see the bladder. Behind bladder is rectum. Rectum goes down as anal canal, while below the bladder you identify the prostate gland, one of the accessory gland of the male reproductive system. Then urethra is traveling through the prostate, then it enters the root of the penis, and it will travel in the penis till it opens to the exterior. Urethra is longer in the males as compared to the urethra in the females. We see immediately below the bladder prostate gland that is only in the male pelvis, okay? Then we see outside in the perineal region scrotal skin containing the testes, okay? So testes in the scrotum may be one question to identify. This is testes in the scrotum, okay? Then from the testes, if you see in the scrotum, this duct is going up, the yellow color duct. This is vas deferens or ductus deferens. This will enter the pelvis. Here you can see this yellow duct is entering. when it enters the pelvis, it will travel, join the seminal vesicle duct and become the ejaculatory duct in the prostate. Okay? Ejaculatory duct drain in the urethra. What other structure that you see here? The first gland was prostate. The second accessory gland is this one, seminal vesicle, the pink color. Okay? And the third gland is this gland. See this one. The bulbourethral glands. The bulbourethral glands are the third accessory gland of the male reproductive system. 3. Prostate. This one. Okay. Seminal vesicle. Here. Okay. And the third one are the smallest one, bulbourethral gland. Prostate opens directly into urethra. The seminal vesicle with the vas deferens join to form ejaculatory duct that opens again in the urethra, and bulbourethral gland already drain into the urethra. Okay, these are the 3 erectile tissue of the penis. Okay, we are not going into the detail. I have not done in the theory even. We come to another model showing again the sagittal section of the male pelvis, but with complete organs. Okay. Now this time again you identify the symphysis pubis, the sacrum, rectum, anal canal. The whole pelvis is occupied by the bladder. Okay. From the scrotal skin, you can identify the testes. Your question, identify scrotum, identify testes, identify epididymis, identify this pink color structure, vas deferens, this hole traveling inside the pelvis. Then identify seminal vesicle. Vas deferens will join the seminal vesicle to enter this purple color. Again, identify prostate gland. What is this? Bladder. If I open it, again the picture is same. Symphysis pubis, bladder. Seminal vesicle here, prostate gland, urethra, the root of the penis, the body of the penis. Then you see the scrotal skin with testes here. Here you see a complete picture showing the scrotum with the testes, with epididymis and the vas deferens. Again, important question. Vas deferens, identify. Ejaculatory duct, identify. Urethra, identify. Epididymis, identify. Testes, identify. Okay, you have to identify them.
Yes, naming the part, Doctora.
Yes, name the part. If there is any question like testes, what is the function? Produce testosterone, produce sperm. Okay. Bladder, identify. Prostate, what is the function? Produce, or it is accessory gland of the male reproductive system. Produce or add to the semen. Okay. Then seminal vesicle, accessory gland. Here again you can see the bulbourethral glands. Below the prostate, these are the bulbourethral glands. Here you can identify them. Okay. So this is all regarding the male and the female reproductive system. Any question?